Eric Head, and you are Director of Library Services?
Yes.
Yeah, well, what does that even mean?
Well, basically, we have 5 libraries, and we're also known as the Citrus County Library System. So the director position with all the counties in Florida, especially when it comes to funding and things like that, they have a director slot or a manager slot that oversees all the libraries in the county.
Okay, and how long have you been doing this?
It'll be 3 years next month.
3 years.
I've actually been with the library it'll be 19 years in September.
Wow. Now you grew up around here, right?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Well, I was actually born at the hospital in Brooksville, but I came home just a few days after that, and so I'm a native of Citrus County. In fact, doing a little genealogy research, I found that my great-great-grandfather and great-grandfather are in this old cemetery in Crystal River. So my family's been around Citrus for 5 generations.
Wow. What's your family? What are the surnames?
Well, there's the Heads and the Locklears.
The fishing Locklears?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of them around.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, how did you get this job? Now you started.
1995.
Okay.
That was when technology was really kind of starting to take off in libraries. I was actually living in Orlando at the time, and I just kind of moved back, and it just so happened that my background in electronics and computers and all of that kind of fit, and there was a technician's position that came available. And so that, something I've always loved. I spent my life growing up in libraries. My mom was a librarian, and so it seemed like 2 wonderful things, working in a library and I get to work on computers. So
Which library did your mom work at?
the old Homosassa Library, the small one that's down in used to be in Old Homosassa. It was only about 900 square feet.
Oh, okay.
And it was behind the old firehouse,
Oh,
right across
okay.
the street from the Homosassa Elementary School, which I used to go to that school, and when I got out of school, I'd walk across the street to the library.
Fun.
So,
Do your homework?
never thought that I would
Yeah.
be where I am today, but
What did you want to be?
growing up, I think I wanted to be an engineer, and that's probably where I went into a lot of electronics. I was an electronics geek for years.
Okay,
and
and you
that
still-
got me into
and
computers.
you still
which
are.
I
Yeah.
still am.
So you started at the library as a technician, doing what?
Back then, libraries were just kind of automating everything. They had just moved away from the old punch card systems and the old stamp
yeah.
systems, and they had put everything in a database and started putting terminals everywhere. We actually installed the first 3 public access computers in late '96, early '97. So it was just kind of bringing that new technology phase into the libraries here. It was exciting.
Now, a week or so ago, you and we talked about the beginning of the library system when Renfro had died.
Yes.
And so tell me again about how the system started and how Renfro fit into that.
Yeah, Ren was great. He was one of the first gentlemen that I met on the library advisory board when I first started, and he was great about letting everybody know the story and the history of the library. And it started in 1984, and actually probably a couple of years before that. He, when he came to Citrus County and working at the nuclear plant, wanted better libraries. He said, I need better libraries for people to attract the right kind of people to Citrus County that want to work there and raise their families here. So they started, him and a lot of local supporters started to push to unify the libraries and get that referendum on, and it passed in 1984. And then once that started, the first 2 new libraries were built in Crystal River and Inverness, and the rest is history.
And then how we are in the Central Ridge Library
Central Ridge and Beverly Hills.
right now. And when was this one built?
1995.
And then
And then then it was had a few years. We waited until Homosassa. Remember that little library I talked about earlier? Basically all of the people that lived in the southwest part of the county had been pushing hard for a new library for quite some time. So we opened that one in December of 2007.
And then is Floral City part of the
Yes,
library system?
and in Floral City, we opened in May of 2009. So we had gotten those 2 construction projects and gotten some grant funding for them, and we got it in just under the wire before things really took a turn.
Tanked.
Yeah, kind of tanked.
So of Homosassa and Floral City, which one is bigger?
Homosassa.
That's a beautiful.
Yeah,
that
it's
looks
very beautiful. And if you notice when you go in the building, we had sent the architect down to Homosassa, old Homosassa, to look at the old sugar mill and some of that. And if you look at the columns that are in there, they kind of mimic the old sugar mill, the same shape.
I'll have to go back and look.
Mm-hmm.
So now libraries have books.
Yes, many.
Yes, many books. But what else do you do here? What else? What's available at the library?
Well, the thing, it's there's probably a lot more than I can say in one sitting, but we start out, a lot of folks don't realize that it's so much more than just the books. Lots and lots of programming, and one of the main focus areas is early childhood literacy. And when we first came in, you saw I talked to Sarah. I said, asked her if she had a program today. She didn't have one today, but there's always at any of the 5 libraries, you've always got a Mother Goose Time, which focuses on 0 to 30 months. You've got preschool stories, which focuses on 2 to 5-year-olds, and then you've got other programs like Celebrate Reading, where we bring in therapy dogs that help kids read out loud, and there's even a program called Reading Pals, where teenagers will come and work with the librarians and read to younger kids and kind of mentor their reading along. Staying with the theme of literacy, we've also got adult literacy programs where we're focused on, basic adult literacy. We're also working with volunteers to grow the pre-GED program, which gets them kind of prepared and up to speed on things so that they can build their skills and hopefully get over to WTI and be able to work on getting their GED. And citizenship classes as well. We've actually had several folks come in and take the citizenship classes, get started, and actually go and get their citizenship. So that's it.
And as we were walking to where we're sitting now, we passed some ladies. They were playing Scrabble.
Yeah.
And behind you, there's some people on computers.
Absolutely.
And last year there was a ballroom dance guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really are more of a community gathering place for all of that sort of thing. The programs that go on here, computers, I almost take it for granted sometimes because I've been involved in it for so long, but we have 130 computers throughout the 5 libraries. And we also have wireless access for people. A lot of folks bring their own devices now, whether it's a laptop or a tablet of some sort. And they use it daily. And you could walk in the computers, it's only 11 o'clock in the morning and they're full.
Yeah.
But then there's the computer classes. Folks that just need to, for over 10 years now, we've been doing, probably over 12 years now, we've been doing basic computer classes. When we first started, we thought, we'll eventually be able to move on to more advanced things, but what's happened is we've really had to stay in that basic level because there's always another group of people coming along that need help here.
And people still read books?
Oh, they do. And they read them in all shapes and sizes. In the ebook craze, folks would always ask me, well, what are you going to do? You're not going to need books anymore. But in Citrus, we still have a tremendous amount of traditional book readers. And of course, they check out about 700,000 items a year just in Citrus County. But we've also got ebooks. We've got that through our website. And I was just looking at the numbers before you came, and just in 2 years, we've just finished up 2 years of offering the ebook service, and we've checked out about 56,000 ebooks in that period of time.
How many titles do you have?
About 2,000 titles. And we have another 400 or 500 digital audio books. So you can also download digital audio MP3 formats. People like to use that when they go on the road or be on the beach and listen to a book.
Since we're talking about numbers, let's talk about money. What's your annual budget here?
Our annual budget's just a little under $3 million, about 2.75 last year.
And then the Friends of the Library, they raise.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you familiar with their book sales? We've got 5 different friends groups, and all together they bring in about $100,000 a year to help us buy books and materials. And the painting that you saw in the youth area, they funded all of that, and they help add the little extra to everything that we do.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they are. They work
And
hard.
them and the volunteers, I mean, we get about 22,000 hours of volunteer every year. That's equivalent to about 10 or 11 full-time employees. We couldn't do it without them.
How many employees?
We have 52, and about 30 of those are part-time. So that's
Wow. Now, Library Week's coming up.
it is.
Yay.
Yep.
What's that all about?
Well, it's National Library Week. It's really a time to celebrate the libraries and all that we do. And this year, the national theme is Lives Change at Your Library. And I think we were just talking with the staff last week about the different things that they're doing. And what they're focused on this year is it's really an opportunity for people to tell their story. And I know that they're working on some little quote bubbles in the shapes of arrows, so people can come in and write down, what the library means to them, or how it's done something in their life. It's made a difference, and we're going to post those up in different areas of the libraries. And it sounds fun.
Well, besides this being your career, how has the library changed your life?
That's good. I think I wouldn't know where I would be. I've always had kind of a curiosity about everything, and the only place that I could ever find out enough information about anything was the library. Even before I got involved in libraries as a career, that was the first stop that I made. When I was younger, I moved to Tampa and went to school down there. And the first thing I did once I got my 1 pan and 1 fork out of my box was I went to the library, started getting a library card. And it's a place where you can just find anything out about everything, whether from the local area that you're in to just researching career ideas, and that just always fascinated me. And maybe growing up in a library just sort of influenced me somehow and brought me back.
Is this, so this is home for you?
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been able to marry the 2 favorite things in my life, books and technology. And I couldn't, plus I feel so fortunate to be in a county like Citrus where so many people care about the library. And the support that we get, the friends and the volunteers that we talked about earlier, it's amazing. And I know not all communities are like that. It's something unique that we have here. It's really special. So,
Library Week, are there events for that?
We're not planning a lot of events for Library Week specifically. There's going to be some things where, like I said, they're working on telling people stories. There's going to be some special crafts that week to just have something fun going on in the buildings. And they're actually focused on some adult crafts, and not just the kids. Usually all of that's focused on the kids, but they're trying to work some of the adult crafts in to get people in to learn a new skill, learn something different, learn how to make a paper flower or make something with their hands. And it's amazing some of the classes that they've had so far, how that engages their mind, and they just really enjoy it. We're very fortunate again to have folks like the Friends and others that help fund those types of programs. But I'm really excited. All the staff are still busy gearing up for the summer.
Right.
And
yeah.
the summer programming is it's always a big deal every summer with the kids getting out of school, and we try to focus on the reading.
Library summer programs, lifesavers for moms.
It is.
Sanity savers for moms.
Well, I brought some with me because I couldn't remember all the different titles they're working on. It's really exciting this year. I don't know if you know it, for the kids, grades K through 5, the theme is FISBOON Read. So it's all about science this year. Everything is about science, with a big push towards STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I love all of that, so it's really exciting to be a part of it this year. they're doing things like, you know, Can't Believe Your Eyes, optical
Optical,
illusions and things
mhm.
like that, making sense of your five senses. They're working on that. Robots. Kids can build their own little working sort of robots and have fun with that. And I'm not sure about this one, but they have one called Blast Off where they're going to create a rocket. So we'll have to see how that turns out in the library. But it sounds really really fun. For the teenagers, they're a tougher group to
Mhm.
reach. I know that they're working on some stuff with duct tape because you can do everything with duct tape. Some crime scene science.
Hmm.
Also doing some things with robots, mechanics, candy science, things like that.
Candy science?
Candy science.
Okay. Sounds
You are what you eat. So I think they're going to get into what's really in the food.
Oh, interesting.
All the
So,
sugar.
the, are, there's 5 libraries in
There
the
is.
system,
Mhm.
and is there any, the Citrus Springs Library,
Mhm.
are
They're
you
an
bringing
independent.
that? They're independent.
Mhm.
Is there any plan or any thought to bring it into the system?
There had been some thinking years ago when we were in a better financial position, but at that time the people that were running that library didn't want to do that. In the past 3 years, I've tried to work with them just to make sure that we're not helping them so much with resources as we are just trying to support them in any way that we can. Otherwise, you know, they're doing very well. They have an amazing volunteer base,
Mhm.
but who knows what the future brings? I think that as things start to improve, not just nationwide and statewide, but here in the county, you never say never. So I know that could be a very growing area where they may demand more library service in the future.
Last question, what's the future of the library system?
I think that we're going to be in a kind of a unique place where we're re-examining everything that we do. I don't really foresee us building any physical buildings in the next few years. It just more of a focus on the quality of what's inside our buildings. Retooling some of them. I know we mentioned those 2 libraries that Mr. Renfro was involved in getting built back in the 80s. They're going to be 30 plus years old now.
Mhm.
They need some help. They need some renovation. So I think just trying to make our libraries the best that they can be, revamping some of the older buildings to be more technology friendly. That's not going away. Everyone's carrying their own devices that have the expectation of being able to just come in and access your resources instantly. So we'll be making a push for that sort of thing. Expanding e-books, expanding other digital services, and at the same time still serving the traditional for those that still want it, which are quite a few around here. I do both. I read books and I read on my iPad. I also have a Kindle. It's wherever there's a device, I've got something on it to read.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Nancy.
We're done.
Cool.
Came in under 20 minutes.
Is that your goal?